Let's welcome Rijon Charne to the stage. Rijon is a licensed attorney specializing in fertility law in California with expertise in American and international law. Originally from South Africa, she has lived in Dallas, Texas for 18 years. After earning degrees in psychology and philosophy from the University of Texas at Austin, Rijon pursued law to focus on fertility law and assisted reproductive technology. Rijon guides parents through the complexities of fertility law, covering areas such as egg, sperm, and embryo donation, as well as surrogacy law. Let's give a warm applause to Rijon Charne for her dedication to supporting families on their fertility journey.
Everybody hear me? I wasn't sure. Okay, great. Raise it up. And now we're good? Okay, perfect. I was like, we definitely do not need two microphones up here. It is such a pleasure to be with all of you here today. My name is Rijon Charne, and I stand before you not just as an individual, but as a cancer survivor, a fertility attorney, and an advocate for those navigating the challenging journey of cancer and fertility preservation. On Tuesday, May 9th, 2016, I took my final law school exam. I was more excited than you can imagine. 3 grueling years were finally behind me, and that weekend, I was graduating from law school, surrounded by friends and family who were flying in from South Africa to celebrate. Despite my excitement, I had been feeling ill for a few weeks, but I contributed it to the year-end stress. However, I wanted to make sure that nothing was going to stop me from graduating, so I made an appointment with the health center after my final exam. What I expected to be a regular doctor's appointment turned out to be a life-changing diagnosis. As the doctor examined my neck, she noticed a lump above my left clavicle. She asked me if I'd noticed the lump before, and I told her no, it was probably a swollen gland from feeling sick. She was not impressed with my response and required me to make an appointment with an ENT the following morning. I arrived at the ENT's office expecting him to tell me that the doctor was neurotic, but instead, he felt the lump and he told me that I needed an immediate biopsy. When I asked him what it could be, my world was abruptly divided into 2 possibilities: lymphoma or a severe infection like HIV. Well, I knew I didn't have HIV, so I said, lymphoma? What is that? Some kind of cancer? I asked him. Yes, it's a cancer of the lymph nodes, he told me, but don't worry, we'll figure it out. I underwent the biopsy with the promise of the results by Friday. Unwilling to let anything overshadow my hard-earned celebration of finally graduating from law school, I asserted, no, I want the results on Monday, not Friday. Nothing can be done on the weekend anyway. He was flabbergasted, but not even cancer was going to get in the way of me graduating from my dream that I had had since I was 3. On Monday morning, I received the phone call that no one ever wants to hear. You have Hodgkin's lymphoma. I remember thinking to myself, I'm 27 years old. I've just graduated from law school. I'm about to become an attorney. How could I have cancer? There must be a mistake. That afternoon, I walked into the oncologist's office and he proceeded to explain my treatment of chemotherapy and radiation and the effects that come from that. However, he never mentioned anything about fertility. I had heard chemotherapy could affect your fertility, but that was the extent of what I knew. So I asked him what the statistics were regarding the loss of my fertility. He told me I had a 20 to 30% chance of infertility. So I asked him if I should freeze my eggs, as the thought of not being able to have my own genetic children was devastating, especially being so young. He shook his head, blew it off, and simply said he didn't think that it was necessary because it took up time and money. This didn't sit right with me, considering the fact I had a 1 in 5 chance of becoming infertile. So I arrived at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, Texas, for a second opinion. MD Anderson requires you to meet with a reproductive endocrinologist if you haven't had a family yet. A reproductive endocrinologist, for anybody who doesn't know, is a fertility doctor. I was introduced to my reproductive endocrinologist, Dr. Terry Woodard. She changed my life. I was taken aback by her compassion and expertise in regards to the urgency of freezing my eggs. And she explained that my chemo did have a low chance of affecting my infertility. But if I relapsed, I would become completely infertile. With this information, I decided to freeze my eggs, only to learn that the procedure was going to cost $15,000 and insurance refused to cover it because, according to them, it was not considered a medical necessity. Well, I was livid. I decided that when I was done with treatment, insurance was going to be the one to lose this battle. I finished treatment, passed the California bar, and instead of becoming a corporate attorney, I became a fertility attorney. I started my own law firm called Sunray Fertility Law. Sunray has a very special meaning in my life. My grandmother's name was Ray, and everyone who knew her always said she was a ray of sunshine wherever she went. And I thought that it fits so perfectly because fertility and the journey to a family should be as beautiful as a ray of sunshine. There are many ways to create a family, and it's an emotional and personal choice. Clients come to me overwhelmed by the emotions of the journey. There are so many moving parts, from doctor's appointments that they've already experienced, miscarriages, um, and to coming to the conclusion that they now need to pursue an egg, sperm, or embryo donor or a surrogate to create their own family, matching with the perfect surrogate or donor, and hoping that she passes all of the stringent medical tests, and then finally getting to me, the legal part. I enjoy working with clients at the very start of their journey because I connect them with the trusted doctors and agencies and organizations that they need to find the right donors or surrogates. When it comes to legal, I provide my clients with the guidance that they need to make informed decisions in the complex landscape of fertility law. It's such a new industry of law that I call it the wild, wild west of law because there really is not much precedent out there. So it can get very intricate regarding different state laws around surrogacy or donation, or the use of someone's eggs or sperm if they pass away. As a fertility attorney, a significant aspect of my work involves drafting the agreements that establish the parentage rights of the parents who are about to become parents of this new child, born by different eggs, different genetics, or a surrogate. Hollywood likes to make you believe that surrogates run off into the sunset with the children, but that's actually not the case. Instead, the formation of strong relationships between surrogates or the donors and the parents and the child can be formed, and it's a really beautiful thing to witness. When I started my law firm, I vowed that any client who came through my door would never feel the same overwhelming sense of hopelessness as I felt the day insurance failed me. This is how Tamika and I met. I will never forget the first day I had my phone call with Tamika. From the moment we started speaking, I knew that Tamika's case was special. She told me about her and her amazing embryo donor, Ginny, who you'll be hearing from soon, and how Tamika was going to need to do surrogacy as well. We discussed the challenge of the incredibly high cost of surrogacy. It can range up to $150,000 or more in the United States, and what Tamika's options were. There are a few people that you meet that give back to the community the way that Tamika does. I am a huge believer in giving back. So the minute I got off the phone to Tamika, I knew that it was time to make her dream come true. Without telling her, I made some calls to colleagues, and before you knew it, finances had been raised and pro bono services were to be provided. It was now time to tell Tamika of her dream of becoming a mom was going to become a reality. My colleagues and I called Tamika to let her know the news. There was screaming, there was crying, there was more screaming, and a little over a year later, the beautiful Chayton was born. Yesterday, I got to meet Chayton for the first time, and for me, it was surreal. To see Tamika and Chayton together, a perfect balance of beauty and harmony, evoked profound emotions within me. It served as a daily reminder of the privilege that I have in shaping families and witnessing their beautiful growth, and I have cancer to thank for that. The resilience that fueled my fight against cancer now fueled a much broader mission, a mission for change. My choice to freeze my eggs wasn't just a practical step, it was a deeply personal decision, driven by the desire for a future that included the possibility of my own genetic children. Many cancer patients are not told about the option of fertility preservation, or they are dismissed like I was at first, or it's simply unaffordable. Therefore, the option of fertility preservation becomes an untouchable dream for so many. Remember when I said that insurance was going to be the one losing this battle? Well, I joined the Alliance for Fertility Preservation, an organization whose mission is to fight for access to fertility preservation for cancer patients. 5 years to the day of my diagnosis, I testified in the Texas State Senate about the importance of fertility preservation for cancer patients, alongside my fertility doctor and the amazing people at the Alliance. Thanks to the Alliance's amazing work, 21 states now have legislation requiring insurance companies to cover fertility preservation for cancer patients, with Texas being one of those states. Now, you can guarantee that the insurance companies do not like us. This success, born from adversity, stands as a testament to the power of advocacy and the resilience of those unwilling to accept being held back. Morgan Newman, Survivor's beautiful engagement liaison, told me that cancer is a gift wrapped in barbed wire. Reflecting on that statement, I realized that without cancer, I wouldn't be standing here today sharing my journey with you. Sunray Fertility wouldn't exist, and I wouldn't have gotten to experience and watch Tamika with Chayton. In recognizing the truth in Morgan's words, I encourage each one of us to unwrap the unique gifts within our own narratives. In the face of the challenges, we have the potential to discover opportunities, harness strength, and find a deeper sense of purpose. By doing so, not only do we get to transform our own lives, but we also have the ability to provide and positively impact the lives of those around us, no matter how big or small. For that, we must be thankful. And so I thank you, and Tamika, of course, for having me here today. So to continue the Parenthood panel, it is with great honor and enthusiasm that I introduce our moderator for today, Michelle Whitlock. Michelle is not only an award-winning author of the inspiring memoir, How I Lost My Uterus and Found My Voice. She faced the daunting challenge of invasive cervical cancer, and 2 short years later, a recurrence. Michelle is going to be joined on this empowering panel with incredible women who are both cervical cancer survivors and mothers, Ginny, Marable, and Anna Ogo. Together, they will share their experiences and insights, contributing to a dialogue that aims to uplift and empower cervical cancer survivors across the nation. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. If you're anything like me, I grew up with the idea that a family was created the traditional way. A man and a woman have sex, and we get the baby in the baby carriage. I learned through cancer that that wasn't necessarily true. And being from Tennessee, I'd have to share that Dolly Parton sings a song about the coat of many colors and how her mama stitched it together with love. And that is much the way I look at creating a family today. My family is a patchwork quilt that I stitched together with intention and love, as did these ladies. And so for today, we're going to discuss multiple ways to become a mother. Today, there's 3 that we're going to really touch on, which are going to be surrogacy, embryo donation, and adoption. We all 3 have surrogacy in common. So what I thought we would do today is start with Anna. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And congratulations on your new baby.
Thank you. He's 2 months old.
Super exciting. So I wanted to start by asking you the question that when you were diagnosed with cancer, did you know that you wanted to be a mother?
Yes, I did. So that is one of the most important questions that I had to ask my doctor. obviously how the number one thing was, am I going to survive? But the next important thing was, am I be able to carry my child?
And so did they offer you the fertility treatment, or did you have to really advocate for yourself?
Well, I had three options for my treatment, and the third one was tracherectomy, not doing whole radical hysterectomy, but my doctor was highly against it because of the high chance of the recurrence. So we didn't go with the tracherectomy. And after that, only option that I was gave was freezing embryo induced surrogacy or adoption.
Okay, so how long after your diagnosis did you actually start your journey with surrogacy?
I'll say 1 year later when my doctor cleared me in remission.
Excellent. And did you use an agency?
Yes, I did.
What was that experience like for you?
Well, that was recommendation by our fertility clinic, and I didn't know anything about it, so we just signed up for it, and I'm glad I did because was a lot of things that I didn't know, and I needed help from experts, and our journey was smooth because of them. We had them, so I liked it.
Excellent. And one question for you. Since you were unable to carry your own child and you watched another woman do that, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it's very complicated. It's difficult to explain how I felt, but I had a lot of emotion at the same time. I was really happy. I was sad at the same time, and overall, I was overwhelmed for the entire process. It was a lot to think about, and it was a lot of uncertainty too. So it was very, very complicated.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And how old is your son now?
2 month old.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Ginny, how are you?
I am doing great. I am so excited to be with you again, Michelle, on another panel and with all of you survivors. And Anna and I are in the Pacific Northwest in different states, but really glad to have the virtual option to join. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. So you're a mom of two, I believe, via surrogacy. Is that correct?
Yes, two beautiful boys, Grant and Emmett, twins.
Oh, wonderful. So tell us a little bit about your experience with surrogacy.
Yeah, so let's see. Well, my husband and I decided to create embryos when I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, about 2 or 3 days after meeting with the oncologist. I went and we started the IVF process. Anyway, knowing that down the road we would want to become parents. So gosh, a year after we got married, I think it was like our Christmas gift, our first Christmas gift to each other was putting the down payment down for surrogacy. We decided to start our family. About 5 blocks from our house is a surrogacy agency, and it just so happens it's like the best in the whole country. So we thought that was pretty serendipitous. And yeah, we went and learned about the process and decided to go all in December 2019. So yeah, that was our Christmas gift to ourselves. And then in April of 2020, so about 3 or 4 months later, we were matched with our surrogate.
Excellent. And during both of your experiences, did you succeed in the first transfer, or were there any obstacles along the way? Do you want to go first, Anna?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. For me, the first attempt was failed. it was really sad, but at the same time, I feel like the bond with the surrogate grew because of that. So
So the
yeah, but
same
still,
surrogate carried or tried the transfer the second time?
yeah, it was successful.
What about for you, Ginny?
Yeah, I was mentally prepared for any outcome. So I guess that's important because that was definitely a possibility. I'm really grateful to say that the first embryo transfer was successful and resulted in the embryo splitting. So
And you got twins.
yes.
I was going to just elaborate. My experience with surrogacy was just a little bit different. So my daughter is now 14 years old. And at that time, I had to advocate for myself. So nobody talked to me about fertility during my first treatment. The second time, I really advocated for myself about it. I also did not have the financial resources for surrogacy really at the time, and I definitely didn't for an agency. So I decided that since I work in leadership and I hire and fire people as part of my day job, that I could do this on my own. And so I did use my connections through word of mouth as well as looking at surromomsonline.com. I had a surrogate. She did get pregnant. She miscarried. And it was so traumatic for her. She refused to go and try again. So I found myself back at the starting point. I refused to stay stuck in that moment, and I immediately started searching for another surrogate. That second surrogate did carry my daughter, and we used all 7 embryos trying to have her. Ginny, after you created your family with your 2 boys, you had embryos left over, correct?
I did. Yes, we had 5 embryos total. So we had 4 embryos remaining.
Will you share with us what went into the decision making between you and your husband to actually donate those embryos?
Yes. So it was, excuse me, it was sparked by the wonderful news that we were having twins. We knew we wanted to be parents, and we felt 2 kids would complete our family. So it was really sparked by that, like, okay, well, if this all goes well, what should we do? And so I think that was like in August or September of 2020. And then the pregnancy continued to go well. And in September, October, November of 2020, I participated in a fertility healing circle with Tamika. And I got to hear a little bit more intimately about the impact of her cervical cancer and, really being denied the opportunity to going through IVF. And I got to also hear how raw her loss of fertility still was. And I think at that time it was 20 years after her diagnosis, but I could definitely sense that it was still very raw for her. So, so around that time, my husband and I chatted. I said, "Hey, I know you've never met Tamika. I've actually never met her either, in person. But I've had very intimate moments with her over, virtual connections." I said, I think we should consider donating our embryos to her again, as long as everything goes well. And gosh, when our boys arrived on March 16th in 2021, I was literally on cloud 9, just so grateful for the gift that our badass surrogate had given us. She had, delivered our boys naturally. Anyway, it was just amazing gift that she gave us, and I wanted nothing more than to pay it forward. So with their healthy arrival, like 2 weeks later, I called up Tamika and offered to donate our embryos to her and Rocky.
I mean, what a powerful gift. There's really nothing more beautiful than the gift of life and motherhood. And there are no words that can express what that feels like to receive. What's your all's relationship? And Anna, we'll start with you, with your surrogate today.
Um, we are in a good relationship. We are almost like extended family. We talk not daily, but a few times in a week and send pictures and everything.
And will that surrogate have a relationship with your child?
Yeah, we live 2.5 hours away, so we plan to see them from time to time.
All right. And what about you, Ginny?
Yeah, so our surrogate lives in Portland, about 10 minutes away from where we live. However, she's extremely introverted. So she's a lovely, badass warrior woman, but she's extremely introverted. So we actually probably, I send her like something on Mother's Day every year because I'm like, thank you for becoming or making me a mom. But and a Christmas card and pictures on birthdays and stuff, but it's pretty limited. And I think that's just comforting. That's okay with her. And yeah, she holds a special place in my heart, and you know, certainly would welcome the opportunity to connect with her more frequently.
Excellent. And I think that's one of the beauties to highlight here is that each woman's experience is uniquely yours and your partner's. And there are all sorts of arrangements post-birth. Some stay in contact, some don't. That's what we need attorneys like Rijon for, to help iron those out. In my experience, my surrogate was always much more interested in a relationship with me than my daughter. And so even today, while she has visited, it's usually she comes to visit me. And while she does interact with my daughter, it's kind of just like mommy's friend is over. And she doesn't really have that same connection. So I'm going to transition for a minute because we've talked about surrogacy and there's multiple ways, whether the intended mother uses her own egg, a donated egg, sometimes donated sperm, as well as donated embryos. But there's other ways to be a mother as well. And we know those as step parents, right? That's another way. There's also adoption. And so given that we had used all of our embryos, we didn't really know what we wanted to do. And at the time we thought maybe we wouldn't do anything. But as most little kids usually do, they start asking about their brother and their sister. And Riley Greer actually created a fictitious imaginary older brother. Right about that time, my nephew and his wife, who were unfortunately addicted to drugs, had a baby. And after about a year of hearing the hardships that they were going through and the state of Tennessee getting involved, that little boy was taken into state's custody and became a ward of the state. And my family got together and decided to be foster parents. And so we got certified, and we were really fostering with the intent that his parents would get their act back together. Fast forward about 9 months, they gave birth to another child who was born drug addicted. The state immediately removed her as well from custody, and we stepped forward to be foster parents again. Ultimately, those parents lost their rights, and we were able to adopt through foster care. And so I want to just mention that in this country, there's about 400,000 children in foster care, and about 150,000 of those are waiting for adoption at all age ranges. There's also other traditional ways that you can adopt and expand and create a family. There's also other ways. There's being an amazing aunt. I have a niece that calls me mom. And my husband often jokes that he has 4 children by 3 women, and none of them are his wife. So I'll turn back to our rest of our panel. Before we open up with Q&As, Anna, are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share about your experience with the audience?
Yes, so I would like to thank all the community members here because your stories were so powerful and I was encouraged by each one of you. For example, I was attendee at Survivor School 2022 where Michelle was guest speakers there. She shared the story with me. And after that, Ginny and Tamika's story came up. Those were the last push that I needed to go through this. So I'm so grateful.
And we're grateful for you. How about you, Jenny? Any last thoughts to share before Q&A?
I think just kind of mentally, it's a lot of hurry up and wait with surrogacy. And I think just kind of knowing that and leaning on people who've been through it is important because it can be really stir up a lot of the emotions that you kind of pushed down or thought you were healed from during your cancer treatment. So I think just kind of all of the old scars reopen. And again, there's a lot of hurry up and wait throughout that kind of create a roller coaster experience. So just having a really good support system, be honest with yourself about how you're feeling. Mental health support is really important. Despite you not going through the physical, impact of the pregnancy, the feelings of loss are very, very much real. So I definitely see all the intended parents out there, and I'm here if you ever need a support, but just acknowledging those feelings is really important.
Thank you so much for sharing those. And I think before I open it up, I'll just share that I think I also grew up thinking that I would love a biological child different than any other child. And the truth is, having really children 3 ways, right? A niece that I was very influential in her life, adopted children, and a surrogate baby. I love them all, and they truly are my patchwork quilt. And I encourage you all each, as you think about that loss, if you want to be a mom, open your mind. There's so many ways, and lean on this community here because we're all here to support you. And with that, we have a few minutes left for Q&A.
So we have time for a few quick questions. Anyone have some questions in the audience? Good afternoon. This question is for Rijon. Seeing that I'm a survivor, I'm from halfway around the world. I have one daughter, and she's asking for a sibling. Let's say I want to adopt a baby over here. How can that be possible?
So I think, can you hear me? Yeah. So you want to adopt a baby here in the United States? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. So I think that Michelle could probably speak best to that because she's done it in the United States. Adopting throughout the world, right? It used to be much easier. And then, of course, there was a lot of restrictions put onto adoption. And now there's a lot of legal intricacies around if the agencies are connected to certain other agencies and if they're all governed by certain governing bodies in order to make more strict the adoption aspect of things, because of course there was a lot of abuse in regards to not physical abuse, of course, but abuse of the actual system, right, in regards to adoption. I know that adopting in America is difficult, but I'll speak to Michelle about that.
Yeah, and I don't know from an international standpoint, but I'm happy to lean into some of the resources I have and get back with you with some, additional resources and answers. I can tell you that it is very challenging, and you think about private adoption, which can be very costly, and there's a lot of hurry up and wait. I think I read somewhere that there's about 36 families for every baby waiting to adopt. And so, in my case, doing it through the foster care system was different. I had more resources because the state also wants to help those children find loving and qualified homes. And so even from a financial barrier, there are a lot of resources that are provided when you lean into the state. But again, that can be a time consuming, and while there are babies or young children, there are also a lot of middle school and high school students that need love and guidance. And so if you think that you can lean into that and invite one of them into your home, I highly encourage it.
Thank you. Is there another question?
Based on just to kind of close the gap between adoption and surrogacy, there is a lot of international surrogacy now. I'm a huge advocate of it. It's much more affordable. And when you look at exactly what Michelle said, right? If you don't want to adopt somebody or a child that's middle-aged, right, or whatever it may be, and you really do want a child, surrogacy and adoption, surrogacy outside of the United States and adoption actually turn out to be around similar cost points. And with surrogacy, if you do want an infant, right, you have much more control over your child, whether it's going to be your embryo or the surrogate who's going to be carrying, and you know the history differently, right, than adopting a child. So a lot of people turn to international surrogacy if they can't afford to do surrogacy here in the United States.
Anyone? Okay.
So I am blessed to have had my children before my diagnosis. I was just hoping to ask the panel, how can we who are lucky to have had our own children already, how can we best support you as you go throughout this journey?
Do you want to take that one, Anna, first?
Sure. I mean, well, now I need your help to help me how to be a mother, good mother or something. But I just appreciate all the friendship from all of you, no matter what, like whether it's a mom or not. Like I just try to be respectful to others, and I don't know, like what else you can do. Like you did everything great to me, so maybe Ginny can help me.
Yeah, Ginny, do you have any thoughts there?
So was the question how to be supportive after surrogacy or after the child is born? Is that what-
For some of our peers here who were blessed to have children before their diagnosis, how can they help us, those of us going through surrogacy, or potentially those of us that have not had the gift of motherhood and want it?
Yeah, I think just, I think the survivor community is so powerful. I think anyone who is a mother can understand the impact of maybe having their fertility taken away before they had the opportunity to become a mother, because it is such a part of being a woman, right? And and if it's something that you wanted. So I think there's a lot of support even, and maybe there's anyway, there's a lot of support. I appreciate that. I think from Anna's perspective, the parenting tips
Yeah.
when solicited are helpful. But yeah, I think just the love and support that we have in the survivor community is really special. I always feel seen as an intended parent within this community. And I couldn't ask for a better thing. I think what everyone is doing by bringing awareness to cervical cancer is the best gift that anyone can give me. I don't want to have another woman or family go through what I went through, and that's what we're here doing. So that's what means the most, and that's the best way you can help me is spread awareness.
Beautifully said.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite Tamika Felder to the stage, please.
Couldn't do this panel. Rijon, you had me ugly crying at
Oh.
the stop. You see Auntie Ginny? You see Auntie Ginny?
Hi, JJ.
So everyone on this panel is very, very special to me. And I wouldn't have this little baby, obviously without Ginny and Sean and Michelle being one of the first people that I called. And John, you said everything. I literally am like, I'm so like just overcome with emotion. And Anna, being able to experience going through everything with you and baby Ito. And you're right, it doesn't matter about DNA or anything like that. And so one of the things that I've tried to do for many years is help in a way and have a fun to help any way that people want to be parenthood, whether it's adoption, surrogacy, whatever. And so I am proud that as an organization, we have established, next slide, please. The Virginia Ginny Marable Survivor Baby Grant.
Wow.
To help others become parents. Even with all the help that I was given, we're still recouping from this baby that I don't regret. So Rocky and I are donating $500. We have some family and friends that are going to match it. You all are welcome to donate. You don't have to, but you can share it. But we hope to give the first grant in March, maybe before. I just love you all so much. I had something prepared. I don't think I can say it, but I love you all, and there would be no Survivor Baby without you all. Say hi. Say hi. No? Okay.
Mark and I will give the 500 too.
Oh.
And Tamika, with me, any legal services that you need, count me in. Count me in.
I'm so grateful for you all, and I don't have anything else to say because I need to get it out, the emotions. I love you, Anna. I can't wait to get my hands on that baby.
Yeah,
Ginny,
he's grumpy right now, so I couldn't bring him.
you know how much I love you and your family, and I'll hug you all when I see you again in person. And yeah, get ready to go over applications because you're on the committee.
No, I mean, Tamika, like, I'm blown away. This is so meaningful. You and I became quite close when I reached out to you about
Something fun.
for fundraising. Yeah, no, well, I was like, what are the opportunities available for what grants do you know about? Sean and I are really struggling with the financial impact. And you found a few options, but they were pretty limited and pretty complicated. And we didn't become the recipients of them. So I am just honored to be, yeah, like couldn't think of it. Yeah, that's a really special gift. I look forward to reviewing. I mean, it's gonna be tough to review all the applications, I'll tell you that.
You know what? I believe we'll get in abundance, and the way you all spread kindness, it'll grow.
Well,
I'm a mess. My eyelashes coming off. So I gotta go. I love you all. Like for real. Say bye, Auntie Ginny. Say bye. Bye. Yes, let's take a photo. Well, 20 years. Oh, yes, he has his teal and white on. He definitely has his teal and white.
Thank you so much to all our panel members, our moderator, and Tamika. We are going to take a short break. Please, again, make sure to utilize the parking lot if you have additional questions that need asked. Also, again, still keep shopping if you haven't seen the new swag. And more importantly, Dr. Linda will be opposite the stage over by the windows to sign stickers. So please go and see her as well.
Can I have a fan?
Want to. Thank you for switching me. Yeah.
You guys definitely your first. Take your break in your seat.
Hey, everybody. Real quickly, if you could come to your seats, just real quick.
And then you can go back
And you could go back and finish your snack. I promise.
or just gather around, even if you don't want to sit down.
Yeah, that's true. You can gather around. You don't have to sit down. Tamika may be a rapper. All right.
This is funny. So Again, I'm in the season of giving flowers while I can, because so many incredible people have not only been around in the new phase of Survivor, but have been around since Tamika and Friends and everything they did. Come closer. And you have been just the ultimate friend, mentor, partner, donor, so many things. And we've been through a lot together, which we don't even have to discuss here. We've grown and grown, if y'all can read between the lines. Well, look at Daddy. Wow. We've come a long way, baby. But I always appreciate you showing up and us moving forward in the way that we're moving forward. And you are a Survivor champion. You've already been awarded from Tamika and Friends, but you definitely are a Survivor champion. I don't know where they are with the award. They had it ready and then I walked off stage. So I messed it up, Michelle. I'm sorry. And Anna and Ginny, maybe they're still there. I don't know, but I love you. Thank you. And that's why I was like, what time are you leaving? What time are you leaving? Thank you for everything.
Absolutely. Listen, I
gotta keep the faith.
I just appreciate the opportunity to lean into the organization and grow, and your friendship and guidance. You have a gift for pulling people together. Your ability to network, to champion other people's voices, give them a spotlight, support people on their journey. I mean, you really are a blessing to each and every one of us. Thank you for being my friend.
I love you.
Anything I
Okay, now whatever's left of your break, you can have it. And I told you it's all right to cry. I'm definitely going back over there to cry some more. Thank y'all.